This is Danny John-Jules, and I play the cat in Red Dwarf. And you're listening to The Critic Show with Scott Murray, the guy with elan and class and style. Hey!
If you're a British comedy fan and you've never seen a Red Dwarf episode, all I can do is ask you, where the smeg have you been? After all, my next guest just completed production on the 10th season of the series following the funny sci-fi adventures of Crichton, Lister, Rimmer, and Cat. Danny John-Jules plays the funny, cool, and fashion-conscious part human, part cat character called The Cat. You know, it's just kind of like how there are certain alumni from colleges around the country that like to put the word "the" in front of their school name to make sure you understand it's the one and only. And I think it's safe to say that he is without a doubt the cat.
You don't believe this one's human? Take a look at this.
Has he got the measles?
Those are his nipples, Frank.
6 nipples? I wonder what the female of the species is like.
Pretty easy to please in bed. Especially if you play the piano.
His internal organs are different too.
In what way?
Well, his kidney, liver, appendix are all colour coordinated. And even weirder, his stomach wall appears to be decorated.
This guy's intestines look better than my quarters.
His heartbeat's weird too. Instead of a normal heartbeat, his sounds cooler.
You think I'm gonna have the dorky human heartbeat? Where's the tune in that?
Let me hear it.
Also, his pulse is a different rhythm.
Well, that's good. Just slam that down on tape for me.
I'm a longtime fan of Red Dwarf, so I am very much looking forward to our discussion. Danny John-Jules, it's a real pleasure to have you on the show today. Thanks for joining us.
No problem, man.
Well, you know, so few actors get a chance to play such a great character for more than 2 or 3 seasons sometimes on a program, yet here you are now, 10 seasons of the show under your belt. When it all started, I mean, could you have imagined how popular and beloved this series and your character would be all this time?
It was crazy. Well, Trent was saying many years ago that when I read this first script, that Red Dwarf would either be the biggest thing ever made or the biggest pile of poo ever made.
Yeah, I could see that.
To have been the former. Yeah, no, it was, I was just reading it thinking, what is this all about, you know? I went to the casting and I was like, he's talking to himself, the original first episode, and he's just talking to himself, and I was like, how do I do this, you know? And I just sort of, jumped in at the deep end, and what I did, they liked, so I was the first person to audition for the cat, and apparently they sat there for 2 days auditioning all these guys, and they said that they knew straight away that they wanted me to play the role.
Sometimes it's best to be the first one they see, I guess.
Well, yeah, I mean, I went in sort of in character as well, I had one of those old suits on, and the original pink suit that the cat wore in the first episode was actually copied from the suit that I wore to the audition.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which was a black, even though the one I had was my dad's wedding suit, which I wore to the audition. They copied that, and that's how the pink suit came about.
Well, then you did everything right in that audition, that's for sure.
Even wearing the right suit.
Yeah, even wearing the right suit.
Well, they do say you've got to dress for the occasion.
That's right, and you came dressed in the right suit. Everybody manages to come back for another season and another episode. What is it about the show that keeps you coming back every time they manage to put something together?
We genuinely enjoy working with each other. We have a great respect for each other's ability, and we enjoy doing Red Dwarf because I think there's something about being the underdogs that drives people together. You know, the BBC initially didn't want to make Red Dwarf. We had to go up north to BBC Manchester, you know, a very small studio that has very little resources, and I think there was a sporting quiz show was the only other show that was popular that was made in that studio, and this little show called Red Dwarf.
Wow.
And now the base of the BBC is in Manchester, which is the place where, you know, Red Dwarf became a hit.
Outside of Suits, do you have anything else in common with the cat?
I based the cat really on quite a few extraordinary people who I thought, you know, were catty, and there was a vibe, there was a style, there was a certain move, and the way he spoke, you know, facial expression. I mean, pretty much the facial expressions are pretty much Richard Pryor.
Oh.
And, you know, the hairstyles and the suits is pretty, you know, you got Screaming Jay Hawkins, you got Cab Calloway, you got Little Richard, Prince, James Brown, the owls and the slides, and you've got a multitude of what I call catty characters. And if you look at the cat, you can see all of those guys.
Absolutely.
These are people that I liked. You know, I came out of musical theatre. I was a dancer, you know, so they were people that were close to my heart anyway, you know. The kind of unpredictable characters they are.
And allowed you to kind of put your own kind of tribute to those guys.
Yeah, Chuck Berry, all those guys, they were very unpredictable people. And I don't think any one of those guys I've mentioned you could put in a box.
No, definitely not.
They were unique. When they were made, the mold was thrown away, you know?
Exactly, absolutely. Well, and I noticed that on the show, we don't really hear, at least as an American audience, we don't really hear your accent as much on the show. Was there a reason behind that, or is that just the way it played out?
Well, the way the accent was very much how it was written. I mean, I tried it in English. We did try it. We spoke about it, you know, and the more we went through the script, they never consciously wrote the cat as an American. But once we dissected it and the phrases that he used, like, for instance, he says buddy a lot.
Right.
You know, buddy is a very American thing.
Yeah.
Buddy was never in the script originally. It was, you know, it was very much, if you listen to Richard Pryor's stand-up, you know, he used to use that a lot when he was talking about American people.
Yep.
You know, like, listen here, buddy. It's nearly like, when the cat says buddy, it's nearly like he's telling you to watch out, you know, hey buddy.
Yeah.
Sometimes it could mean friendly, and sometimes it's kind of a warning. Like, cats always give you that warning with a look.
Yep.
And it's like, if you look at a cat and it gets a little bit paranoid, it's like he's saying, stay back, buddy.
Yeah.
And that was the word that kind of sat good with the cat.
Clint Eastwood had punk and Cat has buddy.
Exactly. Go ahead, punk, make my day, you know?
That's right.
That's right, me and Clint all the way.
Well, you know, fans can obviously quote a lot of your lines and talk about a lot of your great scenes. What do you think are some of Cat's best moments in the show?
Oh man, there's been so many. I mean, one of the subtle ones I like. You're gonna go with one of my plans? Are you nuts? If something goes wrong, I'll never hear the last of it. You know?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. I think it'd be very difficult to get that kind of comedy written in an ordinary character. It just wouldn't sound the same, you know?
Yeah.
Most people might not remember that as a classic. There's the obvious stuff, like the first entrance when he's got his little spray, you know, that's mine, this is mine.
Yeah.
Hey, what a day. I've slept 5 times. I'm going to go out and find something to have sex with.
Yeah, right.
I mean, who could say that?
That's right.
Who could say that, you know?
Well, you know what's interesting is I caught Red Dwarf on KERA, the public broadcasting station here.
Yeah.
And you were actually in the scene that got me hooked. I believe the episode was Camille, the alien that can come up and make each and every crew member, when they saw her, they would look like the ideal mate. And Cat gets warned about that, and he goes, oh, I got to see this, and walks in, and it's a mirror of himself.
Exactly.
And that's one of my favorite scenes.
Himself more than anything, yeah.
That's right.
You've got to remember that scene was made 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You didn't have the technology that we have today. The musicality you had to have to create that scene with the split screen and filming one side, then filming the other, and I was so pleased when I saw that. Even the producer couldn't believe it when he saw it.
Oh, it looks great.
And we slapped hands together.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's a
we
great
high-five
scene.
each other in it. People were just bemused.
Well, are you amazed at how popular Red Dwarf is here in the U.S.?
No, not really. Well, I went to my first convention in '94 in America, and everybody knew what I did. They knew what my background. They virtually knew my seat. I mean, it was amazing. I think we were more famous in America than we were in England.
I believe it.
It was amazing, the turnout and how everybody knew everything about the show. And yeah, it was crazy.
Well, in 2009, you guys got back together and did the first thing in years, Back to Earth. What was that like for you? Was it challenging for everybody to kind of get back in the groove and get back into character again after all that time?
Well, as soon as we all get together in one room, it's like we've never left. And even
nice.
that, I mean, it was nearly 10 years since we'd worked on the show.
Yeah. Well, and of course now you've just wrapped up shooting that 10th season of Red Dwarf, and I'm sure there's only so much you can share, but what can you tell us and other fans about the new season?
Well, the new season is going way back to series 5, 6. It's very much character driven. We're back on Red Dwarf, just doing the old school stuff. We've got a studio audience. We're back to the old sitcom setup.
That's great.
And people will not be disappointed.
Do you know what their plans are from this point on? Is this a situation where if 10 does just extremely well, then you and the guys are going to consider another season, or is this something where it comes to an end?
There's already an option for season 11.
Oh, really?
There was always an option to do a season 11 at the discretion of the TV channel, of course.
Sure.
The TV channel are already spinning cartwheels.
I guess the main hub is something called Dave TV, which is where it's going to air?
That's right. It's a channel that's really growing every week. It's kind of like affiliated to the BBC. Now, the BBC, they were under the impression that the audience for Red Dwarf was no longer as strong as it was. And of course, when Back to Earth came out, we smashed the viewing figures of that channel by, I think, something like 2/3.
Wow.
If you get 1 million viewers on our cable channels, you are unbelievably popular. We had 3.5 million.
Wow.
It was unheard of, and that's why Dave commissioned the full series.
Well, nothing like proving the quote-unquote experts wrong.
Well, that's right. And they're suffering. They're still suffering for it now, man.
Fans like this never leave, and not every single show gets to come back, so I'm glad you guys are back, and I'm looking forward to seeing what
it's amazing. I mean, walking out and being introduced to the studio audience, it was like rock and roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you something funny. I'm going on a ride to following the Dakar route on a motorcycle.
Oh, yeah?
I'm leaving from Granada in Spain. I went to a convention in Spain, and the organizer said, "Did you know that some guy named his bar the Red Dwarf after the show?"
Oh, really?
So we're gonna go and visit that bar before we leave. It's called Enano Rojo, which is Red Dwarf in Spanish. So there you go.
How great is that?
They've even got a Red Dwarf bar in Spain, yeah? I've been to several countries. One time I went to Toronto with a friend of mine, went to stay with his mother.
Uh-huh.
He went a couple of days before me. I arrived in the cab, I put down my suitcase, went in, sat down on the sofa in the living room, Dan.
Oh, no.
I'm like, what? I said, oh, my God. I said, I'm in this show, and they didn't believe me. Because,
really?
The first episode I don't enter until like 2/3 of the way through.
That's right.
I was filming Blade 2 in Prague, and there I am doing this big Hollywood movie with Wesley Snipes. And
Yep.
of course, while I was there, Red Dwarf was being shown every Sunday night on the television. All the extras kept coming up. We did this big, club scene. There was 500 extras in there, and they came up. All these extras are coming up asking for my autograph. It really did look strange.
Yeah, I
There's
bet so.
Snipes over there, man. They're going, Red Dwarf is better than Blade.
That's right.
The producer actually asked me, what is this show, man?
And you said, how do you not know?
Exactly. Well, you don't know? I said, I had the teeth before Blade, man.
That's right. Then you had to go off in your trailer and cool off for a bit.
You bet. There's millions of stories like that, man. There's
That's
so many.
so funny.
I was making a show called Maid Marian in Somerset, which is down south of England.
Uh-huh.
And I went into this big, like a sort of holiday resort called Butlins. It's a famous old resort that here. Anyway, I'm standing at the bar, and this guy comes next to me, and he's wearing a Red Dwarf T-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at this guy with his T-shirt on, and I'm thinking, this is great, you know. He must be a big fan of the show, and he's got this T-shirt on, and I'm standing next to him, and he can't recognize me, obviously, because I don't look anything like the cat.
Yeah.
And so I say to him, I say, you like Red Dwarf, do you? And he goes, yeah. I goes, what would you do if you met the cat? And he's going, oh, man, I don't know what I'd do, you know. I said, you just have. And he went, who? I goes, me. And he went, you ain't the cat.
Oh, no.
I goes, I am. I'm the cat. He goes, no, man, you ain't. No way. You're not the cat. You know, you're too small, man. And all this stuff. And, you know, he walked away not believing that I was the cat.
Oh, wow. You weren't wearing that pink suit.
I didn't have the suit. I didn't have the accent. You know, that I can tell you millions of stories, but we ain't got enough time.
I know, but those are great. Those are great stories. I can't believe he just walked away. What a missed
He
opportunity.
would not believe it.
Well, obviously, cat is not the only thing that you do, so I wanted to give our listeners, as we wrap up here, an opportunity to find out what else you're involved in that fans of yours can see you in.
Yeah, well, I just finished airing a new BBC One show that I did called Death in Paradise, where I play a policeman.
Okay.
And it's all set in the Caribbean, and it's about an English policeman who goes over and takes over this small Caribbean police station. And I'm back there in May to do the new series. It became a big hit over here. 8 one-hour episodes.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's the new stuff. So I'm back at the BBC as well as Dave, so...
Well, congratulations on all of these great projects, and it's been really fun getting the chance to talk to you, sir. Congratulations on another season of Red Dwarf. We'll look forward to seeing that when it's released here in the U.S., and thanks again for being on the podcast today.
No problem, man. It's always a pleasure to keep the fans, you know, up to date, and to all the people out there who are looking to hear something about Red Dwarf, all I can say is that season 10 is all positive, everybody's happy, and the audiences that came in were rolling in the aisles, and expect some old school Red Dwarf.
Awesome.